Okay, we're going through these lessons and you guys are doing great. So this time I want to talk to you about good cyber hygiene, and I want to explain to you that by creating this culture where you're using good cyber hygiene all the time, you make your network more secure. So I'm going to give you 9 different things that if you're doing them correctly, you as the cyber defender have a 60% chance that no breaches will occur. If the hacker can determine that any one of these things are not present or not configured correctly, they now have the advantage. Okay, so the first thing I want to tell you is that using good cyber hygiene is just a good general practice to keep you safe and secure while you're online, but also just in protecting your network or your computer. So the first thing that we're going to do in these 9 steps is install reputable antivirus or malware software. It might be the most important thing that we will do. Antivirus software is a program or umbrella programs that looks for malicious software and malware, and it's a vital component of your overall cyber hygiene. Specifically, this antivirus software will provide protection by doing some of the key tasks that I'm going to tell you now. One is pinpointing specific known malware or viruses. 2, scheduling or performing automatic scans. No one has the time to look across the computer and run individual programs looking for every known indicator of compromise manually. Automatically doing it makes your life so much easier. It does it when you're asleep. Scheduling and performing automatic scans, okay? So scanning either one particular file or the whole computer. That's what this malware antivirus protection does. And it erases malicious code and it segments it, puts it in a place where it can do no harm to you. Okay, number 2, use network firewalls. So firewalls are your first line of defense, and they can be configured to stop traffic from coming into your network from IP addresses that you've told it, from certain countries. You can set your firewall to stop users from accessing certain websites from your network. So they have a opportunity to help you defend your perimeter. They prevent unauthorized users from accessing your websites, mail servers, and other sources of information. You should have a firewall between your computer or your network and the internet. The internet is a very dangerous place. Number 3, you should update software regularly. You should update the apps, the browsers, the operating systems, because the manufacturers of them do the patching for you. So the manufacturers of Microsoft Windows, when they find a vulnerability, they will do updates. And in those updates will be the fixes to vulnerabilities. The updates are particularly important because they often include those software patches. Software developers issue security patches whenever they discover software flaws. They don't always alert you of these things. They just put it in the update. Okay? So you don't have to be a computer scientist to understand what the developers and what the companies are doing to fix the problem. Number 4, you should set strong passwords. So setting strong passwords for all of your devices is essential. Your password should be unique and complex. As a matter of fact, they tell you should have pass phrases, and it should contain at least 12 characters along with numbers, symbols, and lowercase, uppercase letters. And this will help prevent hackers from figuring them out. Additional device controls are firmware passwords. These are hardware passwords that prevent others from using your computer. Very important. Number 5, Use multi-factor authentication. We talked about this before. So two-factor authentication is when there's two different pass or pieces of information required for you to get in. Multi-factor authentication is when you have multiple requirements. So maybe there's a password, but then I also have to use biometrics, or I also have to use a token, or I also have to give you a keyword to go with my password. So two-factor authentication usually requires you to submit your password and a username along with a unique code that is sent from, let's say you receive a code on your cell phone, you stick that code in also. All right, now we're moving. Number 6, you should employ device encryption. With most companies, there's automatically a data encryption process in place. You also may want to encrypt your devices and other media so that they contain a cryptic denial of access to someone who does not have authorization to get to that information. This includes on your laptops and your tablets, your smartphones, your removable devices, and your email. In fact, many of the devices have encryption as a default data for your device, but you should back this information up into the cloud. Another option is to use encrypted USB memory sticks for protecting your data. You know, a basic memory stick, if you use it, pretty much anybody can pick that same memory stick up, stick it into a computer, and have access to all the data. Well, if you have encryption, they will have to know the encryption code or have a device to de-encrypt it. Number 7, back up your systems regularly. When I hear that people have ransomware attack and their data has been locked or encrypted and they have to pay to get that data back, if they had the proper backups and those backups were updated regularly, they could just use their backup and tell the hacker, no thank you, I'm not paying you for my data because I have a copy. So it's smart to keep your files secure by backing them up and putting them on an external hard drive or putting them in a system or in a cloud, but in a place that is not connected to your working system. And then number 8, you should keep your hard drives clean. What do we mean by that? If you're selling your laptops, tablets, smartphones, you should make sure that they are without the hard drive. You take the hard drive out of those devices, because even when you think you have cleaned the hard drive, good hackers can go into those hard drives and retrieve data that you believe you have erased. So you should never sell a device that still contains the hard drive. Now, if I'm a hacker, I'm trying to buy or obtain computers or systems that have the hard drive, because there are ways for me to go in and to get that data that the person thought was erased. So by merely deleting the files or thinking that you have killed the visibility of the files, you have not cleaned the hard drive. It is a little more complicated than that. Some schools will tell you in order to truly clean a hard drive, you have to take a hammer and crush it. Number 9, you should secure your routers. Don't forget to protect your wireless networks. This involves turning off and updating the default names and passwords of the routers. Pretty much if there are 100,000 routers sold around the world, they will all have the same default password until you change it. You should turn off the remote management and turn off the logging for external sources, so that only you, having the password, have access to go into your router and to make determinations about where data goes, what data is in it, and who has access to that router. Remember, it's smart to practice good cyber hygiene habits. If you set up your computer and other devices with those strong passwords and you follow these tips that I've provided, you are already acting like a cyber defender. If you don't do these things, or if you're a hacker looking to get into a system, you are looking for vulnerabilities or systems that have not done these things. This is Mike Echols, and I'll see you next time.